All right, hey everybody, John Paduchak here. Welcome to Learn, Turn, and Earn. And today, your host, I'm here, and we've got Ted, our co-host. Say hi, Ted.
Hi, Ted.
All right, and we've got with us today our special guest, Alan Hickman. And I'm just so excited to have Alan on today because Alan is the co-creator of PerfectCustomers.com. And frankly, who wouldn't like more perfect customers, right? So that in itself is awesome. And he's also the co-author of the global bestseller, Being Attraction, What Love Has to Do with Business and Marketing. So, hey, Alan, welcome.
Thanks, John. It's great to be here.
Awesome. And so, everybody wants more perfect customers. And I mean, that's really I think the big kind of attraction to today's event, and I know you're going to tell people how to do that. So
Can I ask one
go
question
ahead.
before Alan starts? What is a perfect customer?
Good
Boy,
question.
there it is. You're absolutely correct, John. And Ted's question really addresses the whole concept of attracting perfect customers. It was all started with the book Attracting Perfect Customers: The Power of Strategic Synchronicity that my wife Jan Stringer wrote in about 2000. And the book is selling today the same way it was 10 years ago. And even though since then, together, we've written this book called Being Attraction, What Love Has to Do with Business and Marketing. And see, it's got both our pictures on the back. So what happens is we'll be, I remember we went to an Infusionsoft convention in Phoenix, Arizona. We're on the bus going into the event. And Jan, we have on our bag a business card that says, perfect customers on it. And almost everywhere we go, people will look at that name and go, "Oh, that sounds interesting." I give my credit card at the bank, and it has perfect customers on it. And the teller behind the bank goes, "Wow, perfect customers. That's interesting." And so the next question, of course, if when people look into it, is, well, what is that exactly? What is a perfect customer? And that's the process really that was introduced in this first book, Attracting Perfect Customers, The Power of Strategic Synchronicities, a four-step process for answering that question, Ted, in depth. And there's really 5 steps now. First step is describe qualities, characteristics, and attributes of my perfect customer. Second step is to identify what makes you and your perfect customer tick. Whole process is based on law of attraction. Law of attraction is like attracts like. Turns out what I like is what my perfect customer likes as well. So I need to identify what that is. Specify what you want your perfect customer to expect of you. Step 4 is declare who you have to be to attract what you say you want. And step 5, which we've added really since the 2 books were published, is what are the attractive actions that I can take to attract everything that I have written on my strategic attraction plan? So that, in a nutshell, is an answer to your question, Ted. What is a perfect customer? I get to say what that is.
Awesome.
Thank
And
you.
and who wouldn't want more of our perfect customer, right? And one thing that I say so frequently, and I know we've talked about a lot, Alan, is the fact that, video, how nicely this plays into that attraction formula. You and I have talked about that a lot.
Yeah, I love, state-of-the-art technology. I can remember when I first discovered Twitter and Facebook, and I started connecting with my perfect customer. So I do a strategic attraction plan is those 5 steps that I just outlined, which we can go into a little detail of any of that, however much you want. But I have an attraction plan for attracting my perfect customer. And I've gone in depth into those 5 steps. And then I got on Twitter and started noticing that I was attracting customers in the Netherlands, in Colombia, in the UK. We actually have customers, I think I counted 50 countries. where we have perfect customers in. And so using this state-of-the-art technology, which is just going out there and we let law of attraction take care of the rest, people are going to watch this and they relate powerfully with the picture. I really think that this, video that the way you're doing it here, John, is just an absolute amazing thing. And of course, I love your Learn, Turn, and Earn. I'd love to talk about that and how that integrates perfectly with the strategic attraction planning process.
Sure, I'd love to talk about that. I think I mean, when we originally came up with the name Learn, Turn, and Earn, we thought of ourselves and thought of things that we're learning and turning around and turning into actionable things that we can put in place to improve our businesses. But I'd love to hear kind of your take on it.
Yeah, well, I love it because, first of all, when you learn something new, like the strategic attraction planning process, what happens is, specifically with this process, is it turns your thinking around. And for me, that's the turn that's necessary to shift what we call shift your being. That's why the second book was called Being Attraction. It's about shifting who I'm being in the world based on, who I want to become, actually, or what's happening in the moment. And so that turn factor is turning it around in my mind. And that turnaround in my mind is what leads me to taking an attractive action. So that's why when I read about yours, I love the Learn, Turn, and Earn, because it's all right there. When I can turn it around in my mind, and then I can take actions based on what's really important to me, that's when I found that I start to really earn. I can tell you some amazing experiences. As a matter of fact, the second book, Being Attraction, was written to tell the success stories of the people who've used the strategic attraction planning process in their businesses to turn it around significantly and create consistent six-figure businesses, seven-figure businesses, written books, created internet products that sell, and global communities and businesses that are making a huge difference in the world.
And I know you've got some great stories about people who've done that. Is there anything like in particular that you'd like to share?
Well,
Because
you're right. I got a bunch of stories, and it kind of relates to how you both started this thing out. Like, okay, everybody wants perfect customers, and then Ted says, "Well, what is a perfect customer?" So, recently, Jan and I went to an event out in Los Angeles as a joint venture program that a friend of ours, Rich Gurman and Milana Lashinsky, called the JVIC. So we go to their joint venture event. There's about 500 people in the room. I go up to the microphone, introduce myself. I show both copies of the book, For the next 3 days, people were coming up to me and saying, "Wow, Alan, that book changed my life. Is Jan here?" They all wanted to see Jan. I'm like, holding on, wait a minute, how about me? I wrote this book too. And so so at one of these events, guy walks up to us, this 6'5" fabulous gay man who was a massage therapist in Houston when he first took one of our initial training programs, the SACAT training program. I didn't know it. At that time, he was $250,000 in debt when he signed up for our program. He comes up to Jan and I and he says, "You guys need to call me." He says, "Because I'm a case study for your program. As a result of being in your certification training, I got the foundation that not only am I now out of debt, but in addition to continuing to be a successful massage therapist, he's now one of the top product launch managers in the country working with A-listers." And so hearing stories like that of the success that people have had as a result of learning something new, turning their thinking around, and then taking actions based on what's important to them, and then earning enough money to pay back a $250,000 debt and become a huge success, this is why I really feel we're in such resonance, John. You guys have got something here, and then easy for me to say, state-of-the-art technology that you guys are teaching people to use to get their message out there. I'm doing it right now. It's like really exciting.
So we talked. Oh, go ahead, Ted.
No, I was just going to say that's great. That I can see the passion that you've got behind what you're saying. A little smile would be nice as you're telling it, but I know the serious face is
Yes.
there. But you can feel the passion behind what you're saying, and that's what video does. It brings that passion out so people can see that you mean and believe what you say.
Yeah, I love that, Ted. And I'm often the few hangouts that John and I have done together, I keep teasing him about, look into the camera, John, because he's got these beautiful big brown eyes that when he looks into the camera, you just fall into him, those brown eyes establish credibility immediately. So, and Ted, you too. Look at your smile and the fact that we're here over in the UK and I'm here in Santa Fe and John's there on the East Coast. It's an amazing, amazing thing that you're doing.
Yeah, it is amazing that we can all connect this way. That's definitely for sure. And it's like we're having a conversation right in our living room, our office, wherever we might be. It's like we're really, sitting face to face doing that. And so it certainly plays a big role in all of this. So now we've kind of established like what our perfect customers look like, and wow, how people have done great things with this. So what are some of the first steps people can take, Alan, in pulling this all together?
You actually want me to share some of the process with you, and I love what you just said about connection. And what Ted said is, I really do get it, that I'm seeing Ted on the screen, and there's a connection, and that's the first step towards actually earning money. Because until I can connect with someone, I can't sell them anything. If I can't sell anything, I don't make any money. And so you're really right. This is a powerful way of making that connection with people. And we say in our really building relationship, starting with that connection and building relationship, that's what we call at Perfect Customers marketing. And so, for example, I've taken, over the past 10 years, I've walked people through the strategic attraction planning process. I don't know how many times, thousands and thousands of times. It works every single time I play with somebody. Generally, I like to just have like a real life experience. So, you, John, or Ted, could play with me here around attracting a perfect customer for your Learn, Turn, and Earn, or for your Hangcasting Made Easy program. Would you like to play with that?
Well, it all depends whether you want somebody that will be lenient to you or somebody that's going to be awkward.
So I'm going to let Ted play with you.
Well, that's great, Ted. I love it because, I know exactly what you're talking about. And when I first began, I experienced that awkwardness, and it just can't enter my, I don't know, I just don't experience that anymore. So the more awkward, the better, because what I found is that with the quote awkward people, when they have a breakthrough, an aha, it's really like, aha, that's real. This is the real thing. So
yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, great. So the first step is, and the steps are on the back of the book, and Being Attraction book. The first step is to describe qualities and characteristics and attributes of your perfect, in this case would be your perfect Hangcasting Made Easy customer.
Right. That's fairly straightforward, and that would be the basic number one thing would be to have an open mind and be prepared to learn. It doesn't matter if they're new to it, they've been online for some time, or they call themselves experienced. The experienced ones are the worst ones because, like ourselves, at times we think we know everything, and that's completely untrue. You know, you've got to have an open mind and know that you can learn and be taught things.
Yeah, I've always said that the four most dangerous words in the English language are, I already know that. Okay, so quality and characteristics of your perfect hang casting made easy customer or client would be someone with an open mind, prepared to learn, new
And,
or experienced.
yeah,
What else?
and to take action, because you know a lot of times you can teach people and they'll go yeah, but then they don't take action for various different reasons, and a lot of times it's because they're left by themselves. If they've got a place that they could go to and ask and not be afraid of asking, because we quite often see the people say, oh, this is a dumb question, but the dumb question is if you don't ask that question.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so willing to take action. This is perfect, Ted. By the way, you're not being awkward at all. So if
Not
you could
yet.
try to be a little more awkward, it would be nice. So what else? What else? What else would be a quality of a perfect hang casting made easy customer for you?
The perfect one would be to somebody that wouldn't ask questions and just hand over the money.
There's someone that wouldn't ask questions, would just hand over the money. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. So look at how lit up he is. This is really an important thing for Ted. Okay. So what really? There's somebody who just signs up for my program. Somebody who just gets it.
Yeah. No, that wouldn't be right at all, because that's where both of us really excel in, by helping people. And if you want to see joy on our faces, it's when we've helped somebody out of trouble. You've probably found that with John and that, and same with myself. You've then got you feel that you've achieved something that day. You know that you've helped somebody to further where they were starting from. They've now got further and can keep increasing that.
Yeah, perfect. So now you're getting into step number 2, but I want to take a look first at what you just, when your face lit up about, you were laughing about, oh, geez, that somebody would just sign up, hand over the money without asking a bunch of questions. In order for that to happen, I mean, isn't that what we all think we want, is to be able to just put something out there on the internet, have somebody click here and sign up for our program?
That is what a lot of people think, and that's one of the biggest mistakes, because as you said earlier, you have got to build a relationship before you try and sell anything to anybody. It's like me coming round to your door, knocking on the door and trying to sell you, I don't know, a vacuum cleaner or something like that, just completely out the blue. Or if somebody phones you up and it's a withheld number, are you going to buy what they got to try and sell you? My reaction is no way, because straight away they've hidden something from you, and when something is hidden, no thank you.
Well, interesting you would bring up knocking on doors selling vacuum cleaners. That was my first job as a commissioned salesperson in Orlando, Florida, 1972, just to give you an idea of how old I was. I sold Kirby vacuum cleaners. It was 9 different tools. It does 80 different jobs, and every job it does one step better than any other tool made for that job. I could walk into your living room, and I never understood why when somebody let me in their living room, I sold a vacuum cleaner. It wasn't until years later, when I was working with Jan around Perfect Customers, that I realized exactly what you just said. I didn't just knock on the door and sell the vacuum cleaner. When they let me in their living room, I actually thought I was a member of the family, and I related to them that way. And I demonstrated the vacuum cleaner in such a way that I got answers to questions like, do they need it? Can they use it? Can they afford it? Do they want it? And if the answers to those questions were yes, then I took it on as my job to see that they bought the vacuum cleaners. Kirby vacuum cleaners, very, very expensive machine. But that's the reason I feel that I was so successful at selling vacuum cleaners door to door, because I took the time to build relationship with people and with families. Also, not to mention the fact that I would leave a 3-foot square part of their carpet that was clean and the rest of the carpet wasn't. At any rate, okay, so what would be that sort of that perfect customer for you? What does that look like around money?
Around about money. In which way do you mean by
Like
around about money?
Being willing to purchase your program. Like, do their perfect quality would be that they have enough money
Yeah,
to pay
I mean,
you?
but yes, that would be one of the considerations that, again, how we're based some of our products as well, is that we don't want them to buy it and not learn from it. It's based that everything's broken down step by step. So even if they didn't know anything about the subject, they will do at the end of it. If they understand something and the reason why and where they're going to, then they can earn money as long as they take action with it.
Great. So that goes with open-minded, prepared to learn, and willing to take action. So those are really your first three qualities and characteristics of your perfect customer.
Also, just on a side note, it was quite by accident that I mentioned about selling vacuum cleaners, and that I should say, yes, to make a good interview, you should know about your interviewer and do research. And that was how come I came up with a vacuum cleaner. But quite honestly, it was quite by accident. It was, I think, Armin Morin I was more thinking of when I actually said that, because that was how he started as well.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that the subtitle of this book, Attracting Perfect Customers, The Power of Strategic Synchronicity, that's what strategic synchronicity is all about. It's kind of like, sounds like an oxymoron, but the strategic part was that we set up this, we organized this hangout to have this interview, to have this connection, this interaction. The synchronicity was the vacuum cleaner story.
Quite by accident.
Yes, exactly. It's, I say there are no accidents, there is no magic. It's all about strategy. And that's another reason that I see what you guys are up to. That's one part of your secret weapon, is that you get this, that there's a strategy that if people take on and do what you say, ask them to do, synchronicity is going to take over.
Yeah, we make it really easy for people as well, because apart from the course and everything, we usually allow them access to ourselves as well, which a lot of people won't do, whether it will be a one-to-one or actually on what we call office hours, where we'll say, okay, we're around for a couple of hours. If anybody's there, they can come in, ask us any questions or that. If they don't turn up, it doesn't matter, because it still allows John and myself to carry on doing work. So, quite often we'll be on a hangout and we're still working together or sharing documents with Google and that, even editing whatever we're doing. So we never lose the time. We're there if people want us, and sometimes we don't get anything done, but we're there if they want us.
And so that's important to you, isn't it, Ted? I mean, you really like that. You like working with people one-on-one. You like the connection. So you've just identified another quality of your perfect customer, is that they like personal attention. And they're willing to be open-minded. They're prepared to learn, ready to have new experience, and willing to take action and take advantage of that personal attention that you make available.
Yeah.
So you see how this works. The qualities and characteristics of your perfect customer is starting to become more clear.
Yeah.
So that's just step number one. That's just scratching the surface of step number one. You see how deep you can go and really how juicy that can become of what my perfect customer looks like. A lot of self-development programs and really marketing programs, that's as deep as they go. The strategic attraction planning process allows you to go much deeper. Step number two is identify what makes you and your perfect customer tick. And so that's what you were starting to get into there in just a minute about feeling acknowledged and also this one-on-one attention. And feeling you were expressing how you like really making a difference for people and helping people to just really get in touch with what and then have them be able to express whatever their program is out there through state-of-the-art technology. So what would you call that? What is it that makes you tick, Ted, really?
What makes me tick is because in life I haven't been dealt the best of cards to play with. So I've had to work at everything that I've done, regardless to when I started out and on the internet and everything else. And it's surprising the information that is out there, but is always lacking a great deal of what you should know. It is swept under the carpet by saying, oh, you can do this, it's an easy operation. Yes, it's easy if you know how to do it, but if you don't, it becomes really hard. My first WordPress site was meant to be, I think, 5 or 10 minute upload at the time. It took me over a week to get the WordPress site up because there was these bits that were missing. And I was trying to do research and couldn't find it. So that, I can relate to. So when, as I referred to earlier, we tried to break it down so nobody has got to worry about something that is missing. They can just step by step and be able to do it.
So what would you call that? I say, providing the what's missing, the missing link. What is that?
Providing all information and not holding back for various reasons. So some people hold that back to be able to sell them the next part of it. Yes, you can smile and laugh, but a lot of that is what happens, and that's what they call the back ends. And that. Yes, we've got back end products, but whatever we sell and whatever it says on the label, they'll be able to do. If they want to take that up some more steps, that is what our products do. It then takes them to a higher level.
So it takes them to a higher level. What is that? What's that process? Is that like creativity? Is it imagination? Is it? I also heard something in there about being authentic and honest.
Oh yeah, that is one thing that I thank my parents for, is to be honest in what you're doing, and definitely authentic. So that is one of the biggest ways that you can connect with people, by showing them different things, not just saying, oh, honestly, this, but show them why it is and everything, so they've got an idea. Don't, as I say, don't hold things back. Give them your best information. Does it matter? No. All it does is confirm what type of person you are.
Yeah. And so what type of person are you, Ted?
I thought I was meant to be the awkward one asking these questions.
See?
Yeah. The type of person I am, I think, is already starting to come out with what I'm saying. You can see it in my face and everything else. So I don't quite honestly think I've got to add much more to that, because I think people who are listening on this can already hear the type of person and my beliefs.
Yeah, so if you were to put that into words, and that's what the identifying what makes you tick is, it's a single statement that expresses what makes me tick. And so what I've heard so far about what makes Ted tick is being authentic and honest, being Ted.
Oh yes, Well, I get criticised for that, but if I've got something to say, and John will tell you that, I will say it, regardless. And I don't put any airs and graces on either. I mean, say, what you see now is what you get. And if somebody is doing something wrong, I tell them. Like, I put a note in for you in the chat, but you didn't see that, about your mic just needs moving a little bit because it's just puttering a little bit as if you get louder. So the mic needs to be adjusted either slightly up or down.
Yeah. So your tick statement is not necessarily something that you would put on a billboard on the New Jersey Turnpike. It's not something you necessarily would put on your business card, but it's something that you get about yourself and it resonates for you. So, for example, just listening to what you've said so far, your tick statement for you could be, what makes me tick is being authentically honest Ted.
Yep.
Authentically and honestly Ted. In other words, myself. That resonates for you. And so what that does is that's what we call, it lights the light in your lighthouse. We often make a metaphor of how many times are you being like a lighthouse and how often are you being more like a searchlight. You picture a lighthouse on a shore, and imagine if it grew legs and started running up and down the beach trying to attract the attention of all the ships out there. How wacky that would be. But if you stand firm and radiate your light, then that attracts the ships in this metaphor that need the safe harbor, and you guide the way for that. So the tick statement is something for me that I identify with, and it radiates my light. It's operating behind the scenes, so to speak. Like I said, not something you put on a billboard, but I get it that it may be for you, Ted. It may be something like, what makes me tick is being authentic, honest Ted, and that radiates who you are.
It radiates who I am, but it doesn't say that I'm better than anybody else.
Exactly.
That's the thing. When people acknowledge, us being experts and that, I just tell them that the only reason we're experts is because we had to learn how to do it, and not just learn it, learn by our mistakes. When something went wrong, to go over and try and find it. As John said earlier before we came on live, that I was having video issues. Now, both of us being experienced as we are, we were going through everything trying to find out what it was. From video cameras, swapping video cameras, to deleting and uploading the software. We just went through everything to find it. In the end, it worked out. It was an internet connection problem, but we found it. We did ask for help, but no help came back because nobody could figure out what our problem was, or if there was anything that came back. We'd already tried it.
So we figured it out.
Yeah, so we figured it out in the end. And that was what we do. We figure things out. Even when people have got problems that we don't know about, we'll get together, and I don't know, 99 times out of 100, we usually solve that problem.
Yeah, so that goes back to something that you said earlier there about that you had to work at everything, and you've done the work that it took to get you to where you are now.
Yep, and that's what a lot of people chase the shiny objects because they don't want to do the work. Now, yeah, they can chase it, but all they'll do is to lose money.
Yes. So for those people who want to sort of turn that around, you're their guy.
We're one of their guys, yes.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about you, Ted, because this is about what makes you tick. Is because what's gotten you here is, you've gone through it. And the truth is, you bring that energetic value to the space that you create in your programs, so that you could go through you could say it like this: well, I've gone through the suffering. so you don't have to.
Yeah, yeah, that's basically it. We cut out all or most of the problems. You'll always have problems because, and a lot of times it is user error, that there's something that's been missed out. But you'll always get problems. We still get problems. Just starting a Hangout that we're on now, we can have problems. There was one time, if I may just say, that we had somebody on, and we had problems that we were on the Hangout. John, tell me, was that a webinar jam, or it was, wasn't it? When we with Mark, and we lost the ability to actually broadcast.
Oh yeah. We were doing a special thing for you'll love this, Alan, because we're doing a special thing for New Year's Eve for New Year's, because we, instead of, everybody always sets New Year's resolutions, right? So what we did, our friend Mark Hardy taught us to theme your new year. All right. So we put on this special webinar, and we had really a great crowd. I mean, it was awesome. It was the first one we've done. We were just kind of getting used to Webinar Jam, and we got some folks on, and it was amazing. So we're talking about theming your new year. So we'd work through what the theme of our New Year's, each of our New Year was going to be. Last year mine was the theme of quantum achievement, and it was great. But about 2 or 3 minutes into it, everything went down. And of course, how do you recover from that? It just happened to be that we've done it a million times, so it was relatively easy. Mark, of course, was panicking, as most people do, right? We all panic, but he picked it up right away and kind of went with the flow and back up and running in a couple minutes. But that happens a lot of times.
Yeah, and afterwards he said to us, he says, how can you two stay so relaxed and what have you, and you just was going through different sequences of what caused it. And as I say, in the end, John just was able to restart another one, and we just picked up, apologised to the people that were listening because we still had the chat, so I was just typing to them, telling them what was happening. I said, don't worry, we will be back one way or the other, and they were fine, but yeah, Mark just couldn't believe how calm we were.
That's a perfect story that goes with what we're working on here around getting what makes Ted tick. So here's what I heard. All right, so we've got the hard, willing to work hard, willing to do what it takes part. We've got the authenticity and the honesty that is Ted. And I just heard impeccability means attention to detail. So I heard impeccable integrity. And then to be able to stay relaxed throughout the whole thing, that's just such a powerful value as well. So this is all what I get out of what makes Ted tick: authenticity, honesty, impeccable integrity.
I'll just add to that, something that people do when something happens, they linger on what has happened. Well, you shouldn't do that. You stop and say, now, okay, this has happened, I can't change it. Forget it. What can I do to actually get over this, resolve it, and get going again?
What can I do better next time?
Yeah, exactly. So the step 2 in terms of getting what makes you tick, all of this, all of that story, all of that, the vibration, the energetic vibration of that is in your tick statement. And that's what gives you, when you get really clear what makes you tick, you get it, that you bring all of that in sort of an encapsulated form to whatever you're doing. And so I think anybody who's watching this who is going to resonate and relate to what Ted is saying, that for him, what makes him tick. And people are going, your perfect customers, Ted, are going to resonate with that, because you know what? That's what makes them tick.
Yeah, as I say, we're exactly the same as them, no different. And anybody out there, I don't care whoever it is, can be an expert of something. Expert meaning they have the knowledge about something.
Boy, that's a beautiful thing, because one of the things that I've learned in our strategic attraction certification training is exactly what you're saying, is that every one of us has something valuable to give and to share. And it turns out it doesn't matter if there's 200 other people who are doing the same thing. There's only one John Paduchak. Maybe 200 people. Yeah.
No.
All right. Thank goodness. And so the same with Ted. There's only one of you, and there's only one partnership like this. And so while there may be 200 other people out there talking about Google Hangouts, you guys have a specific vibration that that there's a whole galaxy of people who are going to relate to you, so that when you speak it, they go, oh, that's what those other guys were trying to say. I didn't get it when they said it, but when Ted says it, somehow I get it.
Do you know, that's one of the biggest things that I always try to look at people. If I'm explaining anything, it doesn't matter wherever I am, if I'm explaining something and you can see it in their face that they don't quite get something, I stop and then explain that part of it. And you can see the little light bulb goes off, and away we go again.
Yeah, so you see what you just expressed there again is kind of a part of what makes you tick, is you like that personal interaction, that personal connection where you can see it in their faces.
Definitely.
And so your perfect customers are people who want that. So that goes on step number one. So what do you think, John? Should we try to take a step even deeper? Should we even attempt step number 3 here?
Sure.
So step number 3 is where really I say the rubber really meets the road. Like I said, most programs stop with step 1. Don't even go into step 2. But step 3 is where you get to go as deep as you really want. Step 3 is specify, and we write this question in a very specific way. Specify what you want your perfect customer to expect of you. I'll say it again. Specify what you want your perfect customer to expect of you. So Ted, this is sort of a trick question sometimes, because often we think that we should go out there and find out what they want and then provide it for them. That's the trick that we've been really taught for years. It's actually, what do I want them to expect of me? So it's based on knowing what I want, what's important to me. So Ted.
On that statement that you just said, and the reason why I'm going to say what I am, is what I expect people to expect from me is the right knowledge. Because, you know, yeah, you're meant to go out there, like you say, ask the questions to find out what they want, but most of the time they're not sure what they want, or if they are asking the questions, it can be the wrong questions that they should be asking. So I want them to be able to ask me questions that I can answer, or say, really, you should be going in a different direction, because that's not where your path should be leading you. You're going into the wrong direction. So come back and follow this direction to be able to go further.
That's perfect. So if I look at sort of the deeper meaning of that, Ted wants his perfect customer to expect of him, let's see, how would I say this? I want my perfect customer to ask me questions. I want my perfect customer to expect me to be able to answer those questions in a what did you say? With right knowledge.
With the correct knowledge, and not tell them what they want to hear or think what they want to hear, but actually tell them, what is right and wrong, whether you offend people or not, because you might offend some people. They might go away and think about what you said, and then they'll come back. Some people won't, but a lot of times people will think about what you say. And as I said earlier, I say what I think. Somebody says, "Oh, what do you like my website?" And John will tell you on the first one, will go, "No," and I'll give the reasons why, and I'll break it down. I always break things down and then make suggestions for them, and they haven't got to do it, but if they think about what we're saying, a lot of times, it makes sense to them.
Okay, so the answer to step number 3 for you is, I want my perfect customers to expect me to be authentic and honest in my answers.
Again, it's touching on the first one, but yes, there's a common, probably a follow-through here of what we're picking up, but that's me.
That's it. And so you see how there's a teamwork involved. This is really where the suffering, we put an end to the suffering, because the power is really in me getting what's important to me. And what's important to Ted is that he be honest, authentic, and impeccable integrity. That just really showed up for me. And so that's what's coming out. I want my customers to expect that of me, because that's what I am. So what would it be like if your perfect customers expected from you authentic, honest answers?
What would it be like?
Yeah.
That would be absolutely wonderful. Absolutely.
There it is. They're out there. So that's, you've now identified a really valuable piece, that it's okay for you to be Ted, because there's people out there who want that from you. And that's why step 3 is such a powerful piece, is because now you've identified what's really important for you is to be able to give authentic, honest answers. And so I want my customer to expect of me that when they ask me a question, I give them honest, authentic answers. So you get it? They're in on it with me. It's no longer I have to be something other than what I am.
Yeah, I never have been, and that's the thing. I can, if I wanted to, I could boast about the contacts that we both have and what we actually do, because we, same as look after some forums and that for some very well-known marketers. Got their phone numbers, etc. And if I phone, they'll actually pick up, which is the difference. But it doesn't make any difference. We do what we do, and that's what we're interested in.
So, John, what are you hearing here as Ted is, especially what just showed up about step number 3 and being authentic and honest?
It's Ted.
Yeah. So Ted, this is really what happens with the strategic attraction planning process, is you discover how to get free to be you. It really leads you, especially step number 3, it's no longer about trying to change them out there. It's about really getting clear what's important to me and getting validation that that's who I need to be, because my perfect customer, it turns out, that's what they want from me.
Yep.
So it frees me to be me. So you should, right now, Ted, you should be feeling, I can kind of see it in your face. You're getting some validation, some freedom about being Ted and who you really are.
But one thing I'll say, that's what's showing up in this interview is that this is the first time I've actually met Alan. John knows Alan well, but this is or second time. Do apologise, because I was on a hangout once before with Alan, but I was just in the bottom lower thirds on somebody else's, and I wasn't saying a lot. But if this has been set up or practiced or even given the questions and everything, this wouldn't be coming out like this at all. It would be, you know, a setup, and it shows. Now, I've had to think about some of these questions really hard before I gave my answer, because it wasn't that I had to say, oh, I'm going to say something wrong. It was I wanted to express what I felt, and I think that is what's coming out in this interview.
Yeah, well, there it is, isn't it? I mean, that's what you guys are up to. I just feel so grateful to the two of you, and also what's shown up just in, like you said, Ted, and just authentically and with integrity and honestly asking and answering these questions. This is a powerful thing for me. I'm moved and inspired by what you've had to say and what you guys are up to in supporting people to be able to do exactly this. You're walking your talk. You're like demonstrating. You're showing it what it's like to be vulnerable. You know, in state-of-the-art technology, here I am. I can't hide anything.
No, we make mistakes, and we'll say we make mistakes, and we'll own up to them. But we're not worried about it, because that's what makes things real. You know, when they say you should take your video and take all the ahs, ums, and everything out. Why? Is that how you talk in real life? No.
Yes. Well, that's why I actually have some friends who work in Madison Avenue, and they're creating videos, really professional videos for commercials on TV and etc. And they're telling me that because of the YouTube and the Google Hangout phenomenon, they actually now are getting paid lots of money to be able to make something not look slick,
Yep.
but real. And
Yep.
that's exactly what you're talking about. Authenticity and honesty is now valued more than the slick old Madison Avenue ways they used to do it.
And ways some people still think that should be done.
Yes, well, in my opinion, that just doesn't work anymore.
Sorry, John, you were going to say something.
No, people don't connect with that anymore. But no, I was going to say we're running up to the top of the hour, and of
yes,
course,
we are.
Yeah, can you believe it? We've been on for like a full hour, which is great, because the information that you're sharing, Alan, is absolutely perfect.
Quick, what I say? How many other questions have you got, Alan?
Well, it's just I can go very quickly through this. So
no, I was just going to say, if there's another 3 or something, why not make it a part 2? Instead of trying to rush this through, if that's all right.
I'd be happy to do that. Whatever's perfect for you guys. This is perfect customers here.
or since we're here, it really isn't a problem. If you want to touch on the last tip, we can do that.
Yeah, step number 4 is declare who you have to be to attract what you say you want. And this is really kind of a fun piece where you just get to say, who do I get to be is authentic, honest Ted. That's a being.
Yeah, I think what I get to be is somebody that makes a difference to other people. The thing I think would be to maybe one day be able to call myself an influencer.
Yeah, there you go. So that's a being. I am being an influencer. So, and the last question is, what's the attractive action that you would take based on what's shown up here? So to attract more perfect, so an attractive action that you might take, for example, would be exactly what you guys do with this particular video. Turn it into a podcast would be an action. Get it out there on Google Hangout. Connect. An action I could take is I could connect with Alan Hickman and ask him to make this available to all the people on his list. That's an example of an attractive action that you might take, and that is step number 5 and puts a bow on the whole strategic attraction planning process.
Alan, could you take this video and share it with all the people in your list, please?
Yes.
He'd probably like to do that too.
Yes.
And of course,
Good.
Alan has also been gracious enough to make available to all of you guys watching today his book, correct? Do you want to talk a little bit about
what is the link that you have is a link to a free ebook that has the whole strategic attraction planning process in it. I believe it also has a recording of a live going through the whole process, and you get with it to attend a 90-minute live attraction and action workshop with me over the phone. So again, where Ted and I relate, I love that personal connection. I love having 10 or 20 people on the phone working with the strategic attraction plan, and I get a chance to just really connect with people and have that personal contact.
Alan, you'll just upset me.
Yes.
Because you have now said you have got another live video that you did, and you're not going to use ours, so people can actually.
Well, no, Ted, it's not a video. It's an audio.
It's audio.
Okay, add the video in.
Okay, you got it. I'll find a way to. I'm going to find a way to incorporate this into our free gift. I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah, this is great.
Although people have listened to this, they'll be surprised, like anything, and this is a good tip, is to always go back and listen to something at least twice, if not 3 times. And every time, I guarantee you, you'll pick something up different.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. That's because we've evolved since the last time we listened to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great tip.
So, on that note, thank you so much for joining us today, Alan. It's been a pleasure having you on today.
You're welcome.
I know Ted has enjoyed it very, very much.
I must admit, this has made my day because I've had a really bad day. I've been up since 5:30 expecting a delivery this morning at that time, and it didn't turn up, and it hasn't turned up, and I've got to be up again same time in the morning because I've been promised it's going to turn up. So I have been a little bit bitey today. So you've cheered me up tremendously.
And I knew that as well coming into this, and so I wanted Ted to have his day. And so, that being said too as well, this kind of brings up the time in our show where we give everybody a chance for a final thought. So, final thought as we leave today, and I'm going to let Ted start.
Well, my final thought is, Alan, thank you very much for coming on here, because I have learnt a lot and I have thought about what you have said, so that means a lot.
Alan?
Well, that's perfect. There it is. I just love the power of state-of-the-art technology. I love the fact, John, thank you so much for bringing us together like this. And I also, this is a mutual support society. Here it is, Ted is over there, in London. I'm here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And through a miracle of state-of-the-art technology, you guys have given me an opportunity to connect powerfully, I feel, with Ted. I mean, it's just amazing to me. It's like a miracle.
Yeah, I will say that I could come over now and meet you, and you would think that we were like friends that known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another story for another time.
How does that happen?
I'll have to tell you that story when we get done. Actually, it's really funny. And my final thought, gosh, Alan, just a pleasure having you on. You know, I get to connect with Alan a lot. Ted not as frequently, but I'm always caught by the little bits of greatness that you share with me, Alan. So just a pleasure to have you on today. And hey, that being said, guys, thank you so much for joining us for Learn, Turn, and Earn today.
And thank you for giving up your time just to listen to this. And I just hope that you've been able to pick something up from this that will make you go further than what you are at the moment.
Absolutely. And bye for now, everyone.
Bye.
See you next time.